Right, we're going to do some training now with Midge. Midge is about 7 months old, so she's on the lead, as you can see, and she's walking to heel. Now this is the time in the dog's life that you're starting to stamp that authority and heel, and you're starting to teach the dog all the basic obedience that a gun dog needs, you know, to go further along. All the nice gun doggy things, they're all great, but if you don't have a dog obedient and a dog listening to you, then that all goes by the wayside. So basically this regime is walk to heel on the lead, as you've seen. Now we're blowing what we call a stop whistle, which is sit, and as you can see, Midge is sitting. Good girl. Now you can also reinforce that and say the word sit, so I'll show you that the next time. But then you let the dog know that she's done the right thing by sitting straight away. Good girl. Good girl, Midgie. Then we give her what's called a break off command and heel. So we're off again. And sit. So we give the command for sit in a firm voice. As I say, you can see now Midge has gone to sit. Good girl, clever girl. So we change our voice. Good girl, Midgie. And that's letting Midge know that she's done the right thing, that we're happy with her. And sit. Midgie, sit. And she's not going to move until we tell her to move. And heel. So that's command voice again. So you're giving her that command voice, this firm, confident voice, because you want the dog to know the difference when you're praising it and when you're giving it a command, and when it's doing right and when it's doing wrong. And heel. Good girl. So this is a simple regime, and this is like the building blocks, the first building blocks of then going on to being able to stop the dog out in the field on the stop whistle, because obviously this is the stop whistle, just the sit. Good girl, and sit. Good girl, good girl. Good girl, Midgie, and sit. Now, what I would do in this regime also, we would then go down and we'd take the lead off Midge. Clever girl, right? Midgie. And we'd give her a retrieve. Now this breaks the regime up and doesn't make it too monotonous for the dog. Good girl, it's me. Dead bird. Good girl, Midgie. Midgie. So we're just using a name. Midgie. And of course, there she goes on camera, disobeying. Come on, here to me. Good girl. Dead bird. Right, so when things like that happen, the thing to do is to cut down the distance of the retrieve. Midgie. Here to me. Good girl. Clever girl. Dead bird. Right, now the reason why we do that is because obviously the dog went out, scented something there, and just took its time coming back in. Good girl. So all the time now that I'm talking to you, I'm tickling Midge and petting her because she did the right thing. Now I would only normally do 2 or 3 retrieves, because the dog knows how to retrieve, and the more times you do things, the more times that things can go wrong. But we'll give her one more. Midgie. Good girl. Come on, here to me. I'll make it sound appealing. Dead bird. Good girl. Appealing to come back, so you encourage them to come back, and then the good girl and the praise, so that she knows exactly that she's done the right thing. Who's my clever girl? Who's my clever girl? And once, if you have an intelligent enough dog, and believe you me, not every spaniel's that intelligent. It's like, you've got to remember that not all spaniels, not all labradors, or whichever type of gun dog, are all of the same intelligence, and not every dog makes a gun dog. So you have to strive in the first place to pick dogs that come from a good background of intelligence and trainability, and physical attributes as well. Right, so now we've broken the regime up with those couple of retrieves, so Midgie's back on the lead. So what we would do after this, as the dog progresses, is we would teach the dog to sit and stay. So you keep building the regime as you go along. So the next thing that we would do is and Midge heel. So we would walk her along. Now Midge probably won't sit and stay because she's not at that stage yet. And sit and stay. So you'd use the flat of the hand, and I've dropped the lead. Midgie, stay and stay. We've stepped back half a yard. Good girl, clever girl. So now, lots of praise, we're just reassuring Midge that when I put that lead down and I step away, there's nothing to panic about, because we're going back. And you always go back to them. Once you start this regime, that's the biggest thing. I'll explain that in a little minute or two. And sit, good girl. So walk on again and heel. So that is now the start of sitting and staying. And as the dog learns that there's nothing to worry about, you're always going to come back, the stay will happen progressively so that you can get further and further away. We'll try it again. And believe you me, this is the first time we've done this with Midge. Midge, stay. Stay. So we're using a firm voice. Stay. And stay. Good girl. Now we're only stepping half a yard, but as you can see, it's working. Good girl. And tomorrow we'll probably be able to step a yard, because Midge knows now that when she sits, she doesn't panic and she doesn't try to follow me, that there's nothing to worry about, and that I'm going back to her. Good girl. Now she's getting a pet and a love. And heel. So we're up again. So now as we would go on in this training regime, we keep adding to the regime. You would keep still practicing the same things. And sit. Midge, sit. We'll use that firm voice again. You keep practicing all the things that you've started with, and you keep adding things. It's like building blocks. It's like adding on. It's like a Lego set. So then we've got now the stop whistle, walking to heel. Eventually we'll start dropping the lead and getting the dog to walk to heel without the lead. Everything progresses on. There's only so much I can show you with Midge, because she's only at this stage now of learning all these things. Once we've got the sitting and the staying, the walking to heel, we can move into the field, and we can start, we have the retrieving's good. We can start hunting for tennis balls. Midge, sit and sit. Don't let the dog start making its own mind up to get up and move about. We can move into the field, and we can start hunting for tennis balls and getting the dog quartering and hunting. We can start practicing the stop whistle. And here's a big tip: never give a command to a dog that you can't enforce. So by that I mean, don't let the dog get 6 yards away and sit, Midgie, and then start blowing the stop whistle. And if the dog doesn't sit, then there's not much you can do about it. But if you let the dog get to 2 yards away from you, or a yard, blow the stop whistle when the dog doesn't have the lead on. If the dog doesn't go to sit, you can physically go and put it to sit. Good girl. Yes, you're getting bored now. Right, so moving on. And heel, Midgie. Come on. So as you can see, everything progresses from this one training regime. That's when you see all these people with place boards. I'm sorry, and people will probably think I'm wrong. You don't need all these gimmicks, fancy things. Training dogs is common sense. A dog can sit its bum on the floor just as well and heel as it can on a piece of board. And why would you want to be getting the dog to sit on a piece of board when you can simply teach it to sit on the floor? And sit. Good girl. Good girl, Midgie. So that is part of the first steps of the obedience training of a good dog, and also moving on to the stop whistle and the hunting and the quartering. Midgie, sit. Good girl. Clever girl. Right, this is Mossy. Mossy's about 16 months old. Not fully trained, but we're getting there, aren't we, kid? But I just wanted to, as this is continuing the training. So again, Mossy's gone through the same regime, even though he's a lot older. But obviously, when we first got him, he was walking to heel okay, but not sitting and staying, anything like that. So this is the progression of that, of the part I just showed you with Midge there. So I just want to show you with a more mature dog, a dog that is more mentally mature, the way to handle the dogs, to get that respect and to get that switched on status, so the dog is listening to you all the time and does exactly as you want it to do. and heel. Good boy. So like you say, you would give those forceful commands. It's not bullying or overbearing, you're just asking them in that type of voice to do something. They know then that that's a command and they have to obey it. If they don't obey it, then you give out to them, or you tell them off in that type of voice, and you let them know that you're not happy with what they've done or what they aren't doing. So again, and sit, we would give that command, flat of the hand, and stay, Mossy, stay. So again, in that commanding voice, we're telling him to stay, and we'd walk away. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, in the early stages of gun dog training, of the obedience, always go back to the dog. Don't start once you've got it a couple of weeks and think I've cracked this, taking the lead off, calling the dog back to it, because what will happen is, in my experience, good boy, good lad Mossy, good boy. The dog will start second guessing you and think, oh, we're doing that thing again where he walks away and then calls me to him. I won't bother waiting until he calls me, I'll go now. And that's when everything unravels and you have to go straight back to where you started from a couple of weeks ago and start again. So until you're absolutely positive in your mind, 100%, that this dog is rock steady and will not move, that is when you can start calling it. But until then, you go back, and the way I do it, I do like a two-stage thing. So the next thing we would say, hand, heel, good lad, come on, good boy Mossy. So what I would do this time is I'd actually take the lead off. Mossy, stay, Mossy, stay. And again we'd walk away. Now he knows, you see him look there to see the lead's gone, thinking I'm free, should I go or should I stay? Now he's staying, so we've walked away a few yards, so we're going back and we put the lead back on. Good lad Mossy, good boy, he's my clever boy, good boy. So the next thing that I would do with this, I'm not going to do it with Mossy because he's not at that stage, is I'd do a 50%. Once I'm fairly sure that this dog's fairly rock steady, I would then come back to him the first time or the second time, and I would call him once. And I'd come back to him. So the dog's not sure whether you're coming back or whether you're going to call him. So you won't get it into his head to start second guessing you and think, well, I'll go now because he's going to call me all the time. So if that makes sense, that's what we do, and that's how we get the dog so rock